This week, we've been talking about reader groups, and today I want to talk specifically about where to find readers for your reader group. My name is Seth. I'm a full-time fantasy author. I've written 26 books. I've published most of them, and I make these videos because there are a lot of authors out there who just feel like they aren't making it, and I don't want you to be one of them. So on Monday, we talked about why it's so important to build a reader group, all of the benefits of it, and today we're going to be talking about where to find potential readers for your reader group. I'm going to start at the widest end of the funnel, and we're going to work our way down toward the bottom where you're going to get the absolute best readers possible. At the wide end, we have social media. You can always just get on social media and be like, hey, I'm looking for beta readers. Hey, I'm looking for ARC readers. Hey, I'm looking for people to give me feedback on these things. And in general, it's going to net you the lowest quality readers for your group. You're going to find people who are just interested in getting something free to read, and you're going to find people who desperately want to be writers but aren't actually taking the steps, and so they're looking for sort of an outlet to critique other people's writing. And you're also going to find people who are genuinely helpful, but you have no idea who the person coming in is if you're just blasting the call out into the wilderness. So while you can do that, I don't know that I would recommend it very highly. Now, if you don't have anybody in your reader group, or you don't have access to any of the other avenues that I'm going to talk about later in this video, social media might be the best option. Your next option is in general genre communities or in writers groups. These are places where like-minded writers will gather or like-minded readers will gather. And when you're in one of those two groups, if you're a strong member of the community, and always, always, always be a strong member of the community, please. But if you are a strong member of the community, you can just put out a call and say, hey, I've got these chapters or I've got this manuscript and I'm looking for people to read and give me feedback. Here, you're going to find a better selection of people because in a writer's group, they're going to be practiced at what you're trying to do. And in a genre group, they're going to be fans of what you're trying to create. Again, you have to be a little bit cautious here if you don't actually know the person. If this person is just a total stranger and you haven't vetted them at all, then you have to be a little bit cautious about taking the advice they give wholesale. But at the end of the day, these are two great places to find people for your reader teams. Now, where do you find these groups? Most likely on social media. You might be able to find local groups, but local groups can be a little bit fraught. And often if you're engaging with other writers, there's going to be some sort of equivalent exchange. So if you want somebody to read your stuff, you have to read their stuff. Well, that's just not super feasible. If you're trying to produce at a high level, you just won't have time to read everybody's things. And so you might want to try a genre group to target readers specifically. The third and by far the best way to find readers is to look for them in groups that you specifically own. These would be groups built around you as an author or groups built around your worlds. The reason that this is the best place probably goes without saying, but it's because these are people who are invested in you. They're invested in what you create. And so they're going to be the most excited, the most engaged, and the most likely to say yes when you ask them to beta read for you. You can find these people in any community that you own, whether that's on Patreon, whether that's on Discord, whether that's on Facebook, or if you have an email list, this can be a really good place to ask people as well. One of the most important things that you can do as an author is engage with your reader base. And what better way to engage than giving them content ahead of time and getting feedback on it? Now, this can be a little bit difficult if you don't have a thick skin. But we've talked about this before. Developing a thick skin as an author is an absolute must, and this is a great way to practice. Fan groups, specifically your fan groups, are undoubtedly the best place to find beta readers. Now, if you don't have a community of your own, that's okay. You can step up to that next level of looking in genre groups or looking in author groups. Again, if you don't have access to either of those or you're not members of those communities, you can step up once more and put out a general shout on social media. But I hope you can see how all of this sort of funnels down from the widest net down into the most specific but highest value net. As I mentioned, I run a reader group of my own to beta read things for me, and I get most of the people who join it from my Discord. That's sort of where I've chosen to concentrate as much of my effort as possible. And so that's where I ask people if they're interested in becoming beta readers. I do put some requirements around it. I require them to be part of the Patreon if they want to read advanced content, and I think that's pretty fair. So it's not like you just have to let everybody in. But the more people, the wider the range of feedback you're going to get, and the better able you will be to correct any mistakes you have.